Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on October 26, 2024 at approximately 4:30 p.m. PST. Now, I've returned to this world for one primary purpose, and that is, well, that worked well. That is to remind people that working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Now, I bill myself as a spiritual guide because the tools I offer are the exact same tools I personally use in my day to day life. And the philosophies of life I talk about are the same philosophies I guide virtually every movement I make by. With this in mind, I know the tools that I offer will work for you because they continue to work for me and have worked for literally thousands of other people with varying degrees of success depending on their own personal efforts. Now, today we are going to start looking at a real simple issue: building a better tomorrow today. This is not something we are going to start next week. We're not even starting it tomorrow. We're going to start it right here, right now. Okay. And the first step to that is this part. We have Storm in the background here and quite often up front, making sure that the technological side, as best as he can, works, as well as watching out for problem children in the chat room. Understand I've given very clear parameters to my moderators to remove problem children. This is going to remain a safe place for as many people as I can get away with. And the ones that don't cooperate, it's easy. We remove them. Okay. And the reason for that, quite frankly, boils down to self-preservation. I've already had one heart attack due to stress, not bothering with another one. Now, we have Woo Rider. You are in with the gold. How's it going, Woo? Hopefully things are going well for you. My weekend has been, well, enlightening, I think is a good way to put it. So that works out well. Now, that said, we have LA Moon in the house. She is one of the primary moderators. And in addition to watching for problem children, Lynn, LA keeps an eye out on me to make sure that my health doesn't buckle while I'm here. Although personally, I figure my dropping dead could be entertaining, especially if I get back up again. But from what I gather, that's going to throw a lot of people into a tailspin. In with the silver, we have Ken. How you doing there, Ken? Glad you're feeling a little better. Hope you get better as time goes on. But you are in with the silver. Now, when we are looking at building a better tomorrow, most people look at the governments, at the major corporations, at big investors, at the religious icons, the so-called traditional people. Joe, you are in with the bronze. How you doing there, Joe? We look at all these people and go, it's up to them. Well, has anybody ever actually looked at what gets said in some cases? I'm from so-and-so, I'm here to help. Somehow now, I've already told you guys, I am very much a pessimistic cynic. Okay? But I do still see this world as having a golden opportunity here. I'm just not waiting for the governments, for the so-called elites, for the religious guides. I'm not waiting for them. Okay, so here's how we go about doing this. Now, these are the same things that I personally am doing. Okay. And what you start with is literally take a look at your life. Okay. What are you not content with? Yeah. LA goes, that phrase strikes terror into my heart. The moment somebody says, trust me, I'll tell you, there are, maybe half a dozen people that I actually trust. And I will tell you, two of them are right here. That would be LA Moon and and a storm. Okay, I know if they say they're going to do something, they do. Okay, obviously, I'm obviously trusting my other half. Okay, I've shared things with her I won't tell anybody. Okay, because they don't apply to anybody else. But grab that sheet of paper of yours. Now, you guys know that I'm a firm believer that lists work. So what we're going to do, and I strongly suggest if you haven't got one, take a moment, grab a sheet of paper, grab a notepad, like a computer notepad, whatever you use. Electronic works just as well. Oh, there we go. Joe. Perfect. Joe Stewart is just letting us know. Well, it's official. I now know I'm a psychic empath. I gotta ask what finally got it through your head. Because I will tell you, there's a lot of people waking up right now. And this is what we've got to work with. But first thing you do, take a look at in the mirror. What are you not content with? Not what are you content with? What are you not content with in your life? Now, I will tell you, I hear a lot of people, I'll ask them that, they go, oh, I'm really happy with my whole life. I'm sitting here going, no, you're just not admitting it. And this is why I'm not asking you to post what you're not happy with. This is for you. Okay. Now, from my standpoint, I can give you all kinds of things I did wrong. But if we desire to change this world, well, let me ask you this, guys. And this one I would love some input. Would you like to see this world turn back to a safe world for people where the dominant thing coming out is not who ripped off who stole from who murdered who, and who's going to hell because they didn't believe in exactly the right person? Who here would like to see that change? Where what we focus on is who had a birthday, who got promoted, who ended up having a windfall from a positive standpoint to actually change their life. Okay. Or for that matter, who out there is celebrating something. This is why when somebody pipes up in here and goes, I've got a birthday or so-and-so had a birthday. This is why I encourage people to go, look, congratulations. Yeah. Ellie goes, I'd like to see that in the first place. I did see it. This is one of the things that drives me. 50,000 years ago, we had absolute peace on Earth. Okay? Absolute peace. There was no war, no greed, there was no starvation. Okay? It was just literally, we had peace. Everybody got along. There was no lying, there was no deception. Matter of fact, it was literally curiosity to wipe the empire out. So, first place you start, whether we're talking about your home or your work, understand the only person that you've got any control over is you. That's it. And yeah, I realize some of you have kids and you're going, I control my kids. Not in today's world. Okay. Unfortunately, you may well be doing your best, but something you got to realize, they still have a mind of their own. So we start off in the brainchild of literally your home or your office. But I'm going to start with the home because more people have one of those. Okay. More people have a home than have a business, even a home run business. Now, we look at the first things first. Okay, you take a look at that sheet I just asked you to get out. What's the first thing that comes to mind that you're not content with? Okay. It's easy to look at something and say, I'm happy about this, I'm happy about that. It gets to be a pain in the neck and sometimes a little frightening to look in the mirror and go, what am I not content with? Okay. Well, two things right off the bat. For me, okay, and many of you probably have the same one. For me, I'm not content with my cash flow. So, what do we do with that? Well, we start by going, okay, we're not content. What is the first step to actually changing your cash flow? Okay, and rest assured, it is not a question of going out and getting a new job. Okay, what you've got to look at is, okay, first, what have we got? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, LA. Oh, there you go. Yeah, and I do agree. I do agree with LA there, Joe. Look into psychic protection. Okay, it is something, and talk to people that can do it. Okay, I will tell you wholeheartedly, there is no question LA knows what she's doing. Okay, myself, you get to figure it out. I've been dead often enough that, frankly, the dead don't bother me anymore. But take a look at your cash flow. Okay, first thing you got to realize is everybody, because this world works on finances, you have to, and this is something I really screwed up on. You've got to start paying attention to it. So, we've got cash flow that's got to be sorted out. The other part I'm not content with yet, and I'll get to both of these. And absolutely, if you guys, when you guys come up with something you're willing to share that you're not content with, put it in the chat room if you would, please. All caps so I can find it. Because it's going to be your guys implementing things to change your life, not mine. Frankly, let's say and this is not a question of trying to be rude about it, but let's say you're having trouble keeping food in the house. Okay, I can give you tools to work with on that. But honestly, if you don't have food in your house, it's one of those things I'm just not going to have a lot of time to worry about. These tools have to be used to change the way things are going. Okay, now when I say have to, I don't necessarily mean these specific, but the reality is this. If you leave your life running exactly the way it is, and you're not content with the current setup, you're literally choosing to keep yourself in an oppressed situation. So, and we're going to get back to the cash flow in a second. The other thing that I'm looking at is I'm not happy with my physical body. And no, I'm not going to show you that any more than what you see if I get up and walk. But rest assured, these are changes that start in your house. Okay, and we'll show you how all that works. But to do that, let's start with the finance. Wherever you work on the money in your house, whether it's bill paying, investments, maybe it's just simply you work in that space to organize things. That's the area we clear right off the bat. Now, I have in my possession right now, I've got across here, I've got a 15-foot desk. Okay, this is the area I clear. Because the thing with energy is this. If you've got a whole pile of clutter around you, okay, it's like throwing a bunch of rocks into a stream. You will bottleneck the energy flow and your life will go into a holding pattern. Okay, it will go into a holding pattern simply because of the fact you're not doing anything different. Okay, so here's the first thing we look at. Take wherever you work on things, get the clutter out of the way. Now, right now, I don't actually have a bunch of clutter on my desk right now. These I was working on today. I might get to those a little later to show you what I'm working on, but let's not pop that out of joint, shall we? So we take a look at your office and go, okay, what do you got to work with? Well, we've got 15 feet. So I've got that all organized right now. That's your first task. Okay. And what happens as the energy gets cleared out of that area, you'll free up the energy to be able to reclaim power over the rest of your life. Now, again, don't take my word for it. Okay. You can sit there and go, oh no, cleaning the office out won't help. Don't just take my word for it. Give it a shot. If your office has clutter in it, clear the clutter. Now, this may just mean pick stuff up and move it to a holding spot, so the office itself is cleared. Okay. Now, I will show you this. I can't show you the actual office, but this one little container, the only thing in it is my blood pressure tracker. I keep it there because, well, frankly, I know where it is. But it boils down to you get the desk clear. Once the clutter goes, understand your office where you're working on your finances, whether we are talking home or talking business. This is the brain of your building. Okay, just like your own mind. Okay, your own head holds the brain of your body. And I'm certain if you're not clear-headed, you're going to make miscalculations. You're going to be tired. These are just things that are so common. I'll call them common knowledge. And if you've got a question around that, absolutely ask. Okay. Oh, LA, you take all the fun out of things. LA goes, I want to recommend something that isn't witchy or would upset your folks. In my eyes, I get a kick out of it because people use the term witch because they don't understand what a witch truly is. But the thing we start with is figure out what you're not content with. These are the things we're going to start altering. Okay, now, once we get the energy moved, here's what happens. You get the office running smoothly. All of a sudden, you think more clearly. When you're thinking more clearly, you will be more adept at dealing with the added stresses in your life. Okay, this is just a normal side effect. And what ends up happening there is once the brain starts to work, once the brain starts to work, then you can get to the rest of the building. Now, I wonder if I put it in here. There we are. I did. In December's positive perspectives, I've literally got an article in there to lay out how to clear your house out. Okay, now, why are we clearing out your house and calling this changing the world? Well, here's the thing. Have you ever noticed if you're in a good mood, you can have a much better interaction with the people around you than if you're in a bad mood? Okay, people on the whole will respond to your energy levels. Now, the clearer your home runs, the happier you're going to find yourself, and therefore, the better equipped to turn around and deal with the people outside. So, let's just walk through that. Like, I'm looking at this going, okay, where do we go from here? Where's the easiest place? Well, we start in the brain. Okay, start in the office. The reason for that is as long as your head is working clearly, the rest of your body will work. Okay, think about it. When you're feeling mentally stressed, when you're feeling mentally depressed or overburdened, do you actually think about that neat little thing of, oh, I really should get that room cleared out? I really should get my lawn tidied up because it's not making me happy to look at. Or when your mind is upset, is it more likely that you basically curl up in the corner? Okay, the neat part about it is you've got more power over your neighbors. I shouldn't say power. You have a bigger influence over your neighbors than you may realize. Okay, and the way to make that work is focus on you. Remember what I told you. You must be true to you first. So when I take a look at this place, okay, these drawers are already all organized. Okay, so I've already got that done. But the reason I did that is when I'm looking for something, okay, if you think about it, if you can't find the stuff you require, it's natural to develop stress. Yo, oh, Joe, just a minor sidetrack from where I'm going. That ringing in your ears. Odds are you've got somebody trying to get a hold of you. All you got to do in your mind's eye, thank them for slowing their speech down. Oftentimes, what I've found is if I'm getting a high pitched whine, somebody's trying to say something, and usually from the spirit world. But think about it, if you slow the mind down, if you slow their speech down, they slow it down. Picture now, you're old enough to look at this one. Play a 33 record on 78. Okay? And I will tell you, slow it down, you can hear it. If you speed it up, it more sounds like a mosquito than anybody else. Okay? But, to be clear, everybody is born with their higher senses. This being said, when you feel better about you, you will put forth an energy that helps other people look forward to having you come through the door. It can be disconcerting, absolutely. But to lose a phone. It can certainly be disconcerting when you strive to change the way things are going. But if you focus on you, not only, and here's some side effects for you, then you'll get along better with the neighbors, you'll get along better with the people that you're close to. Understand something. 3 karmic laws. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. By following those 3 laws, while you're focusing on you and your goals, you will find not only do you feel better, but bonus, they're going to feel a little better. Net result, you're going to actually have a better day overall. Now, let me ask you, when you think about it, when do you think most effectively? When you're stressed or when you're relaxed? This is what we've got to look at. As this transition happens, you take a look at the stuff you've gotten, you think about it right now. Okay, this is where my computer is. But fall over. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4. I have 8 books in print. And for those of you that are already tied into my Inner Voice Enterprises Facebook page, I've started posting there again. But that's okay. It'll show up on my main page as well, which I'm not going to worry about. You know, one of the neat things that we got to look at is if we wait for, let's take a look at what they've done. Okay, you've left the governments in control. First and foremost, understand the governmental system that was laid out. Every one of the governmental systems have merit. Okay, you don't have to agree with them, but if you're living in that country, you got to follow their guidelines. Okay, because I will tell you, breaking the written laws is not worth the hassle. Okay, now there was a cute little book that I read when I was in high school called Animal Farm. I don't even know if you can get it anymore, but I strongly recommend you read it. And I believe it was written, and somebody can correct me on this, I believe it was written by George Orwell. Okay, but it shows what happens if you flip a government over. Don't. The government layout that you've got right now, in all likelihood, will work. Okay, you may not agree with it. You may not agree with all aspects. But you've got to take a look at what the government has done and go, okay, that's the law they've got. That's what we got to work within. Now, when you start looking at the government and go, it's their fault, ask yourself one little detail. Okay, if everything's the government's, the elite's fault, the aliens, gods, let me ask you this. Who's coming through the front door? Who's coming through the front door and helping you put your socks on? Is this the government, or are you responsible for putting your own socks on? Maybe you've got somebody that helps you. Okay, I have trouble with my socks. They keep falling off because I keep finding. I get home, I'm done going out for the day, and somehow my finger gets caught in the upper lip in the cuff of the sock. Next thing I know, my sock's off. Okay, at home I don't wear them a lot, but the point being, around your house, who decides when you're eating, when you're doing your laundry, when you're going to bed? Who makes those decisions? And I hate to tell you guys, if you happen to be a child, as in a kid, you don't have your name on the lease. Yeah, you probably have somebody telling you what you should be doing. That's their job. Well, as long as he didn't blow up the world, we're okay. See, well, here's the thing. I realize he did something that was horrible. But how about this? And I'm not saying he didn't do something horrible, but find something that he has done that is positive. Okay. Oh, there you go. Now there's something that we can look at. Will goes, I'm turning into my neighborhood now, and I just saw a baby deer on the side of the road, right outside the woods. See, there is, much as there's all kinds of terrible things out there, okay, there is phenomenal good things out there. Way more than there are negative. Okay? And it's not that I figure bad things don't happen. It is a fact that I look at and go, if you look at something, if you see something, listen to, talk about, hear, doesn't matter. For everything negative you experience, find to things positive. This will balance the scales it'll off balance the scales, but it will start pushing things to the forefront of the positive side of things. This is how we're going to change the world. Okay, when you're on social media anywhere, okay, and you see these things, here's some pictures these celebrities don't want you to see. Ask yourself, if you were that celebrity, would you desire people to be looking at them? I look at the headline and go, don't require it. Okay. But you turn around. I looked at another one on Facebook where it was a not golden retriever, a yellow lab that was he'd run off. Dad was calling for him. He wouldn't come. So the guy had to come and find him. He finds the yellow lab on the ground, laying down with a fawn curled up on top of his legs. The dog wouldn't move. Okay. Images like that, if I had a printer in the mind, well, I've got a printer, but it's almost tempting to take pictures like that and put them up and say, hey, there's something positive. Where is it? Oh. See, this little thing here. I keep this picture here because this is right out of Lord of the Rings. Okay, I happen to like the guy. But you start by focusing on what you're content with, on what you're not content with. Absolutely acknowledge the things that you're content with. Like, right now, I'm really happy with the way my office is laid out. I don't have to change anything on it. Okay, but the more that we focus on getting the negative side of things out of the way, the better off we're going to be. Now, the government has done all sorts of things, and they're responsible for all kinds of layouts. But let me ask you this. What have they done right? Not what have they done wrong? Or what are you not happy with? Again, it's easy to look at it and go, gee, I'm not happy with everything going on. The government said they were going to do this and, natter. I'll tell you, governments don't do everything perfectly. Neither do the so-called elites. Neither do the moguls. And by the way, bad news, odds are you don't either. So we're going to look and act upon the positive side of it. So I've already got my office desk sorted out. I can sit here, and I've even worked it out. Get that out of my way. Even worked it out. So I've got an extra desk that'll slide out of the way that I can write on. But that means my working area, the brain of my house, and by the way of my office, is already clear. Okay, that's the first step we look at. Yeah, let me just double check something here. Whoop. Oh, that's journaling. Don't require that. I am looking for there. Now, the neat part about it is I've got the area here, so that works out well. I've already got my office working. Now, what do we do with that? Well, here's the thing. You've got an income. Okay, we know this for certain. Because if you're listening if you're sitting there listening, you've got a computer or at least access to one. Okay, now what do we do with the income to start getting your money back in track? Well, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, you watch the industries out there, the great big companies and what have you, and they'll go, look, we got this on for sale for a measly $100. Okay, but what they don't tell you, and don't take my word for it, Maybe I'm pessimistic. Probably am. I'm certainly cynical. Okay, and we have Rachel has come to the door. A little bit of a hectic day today, wasn't it, Rachel? And what did I get here? Okay, I'm just going back up top here on principle. We have, Wu came in with the gold. Ken came in with the silver. Joe came in with the bronze. And scroll down a little. And I do believe yep, looks like Rachel has come in with honorable mention. Yeah, LA goes, a measly $100 is a small fortune for me. Absolutely. But here's what they don't tell you. And I saw this firsthand. Okay, what they do is they turn around and they raise the price by 20%, give you a 10% discount, and they call that a good deal. Okay, now this is the way they say we're going to lower prices. Tell you what, here's how I lowered prices. Okay, when everything was rising over lockdown, I have been paid as much as literally $2,600 an hour. Okay, when lockdown hit and everybody's prices were rising because, well, business is slow, so let's slow it down more by pricing it out of range. What did I do? I went, okay, the people that require assistance don't have 2,600. So I shared the thing off. Now, in all fairness, I did it in 3 stages, but I am down to charging a staggering $80 an hour. Now, understand, I've got 37 years under my belt, aka I've got well over 100,000 clients. You know, the sad part there, LA goes, I keep a log of prices. They do that, I don't buy. And for the most part, that works. The unfortunate part is so many people say, you see this word, sale, and they don't think about it. This is why planning is so imperative. Okay, because they'll tell you, we're going to help you by dropping prices. And then they raise them. Okay, I don't know how that works out as dropping. I think they've got backward scale to me. But take a look at your income. And bear in mind, I am not a financial advisor by trade. But this is the tool I personally use. Okay, now, I'm below the poverty line at this point. I have no intention on staying there. Nathan, how you doing? Glad you could join us. And yeah, you just got home. Yeah, I've seen the same thing. I actually asked them. I asked one of the managers. I saw that happen. I looked at they had this soup on for $1.20, right? And it said sale $1.20, but whoever put it up forgot to take the original price away. So I asked the manager about it. I said, "What is this?" Right, and I showed him what it was. He says, "Well," he says, "technically, we're not doing anything wrong." Right. I looked at him and he said, "Well," he says, "number one, it is for sale, okay, and we are charging $1.20. But you absolutely have the right to walk up to the counter and go, I want this at its original price. Okay, and they will give it to you. Most people see sale and go, I'm going to buy it. Or most people see Oh, 2-for-1. Now, 2-for-1 is great if you do it right. But this is only the tip of the iceberg of what I'm talking about. Yeah, Rachel goes, food prices have doubled in 3.5 years. And here's the thing. They keep doubling because people are still doing things the old-fashioned way. Oh, we've got this, we're going to sell it for a standard issue. Oh, I didn't say it was morally right. Morally, it's absolutely wrong. What he was referring to is it is for sale. They were selling it for $1.20. Okay. Most people don't even question this. I'm telling you, you desire this world to change. It's time you, as an individual, start questioning. Okay. Now, that's just one aspect. And we will, as a matter of fact, I do think what we should do, and correct me if I'm wrong, either give me a no, don't do that, or yeah, it would be an idea. Okay. Now, understand something very important here. The tools I am offering here, I offer to every species I deal with. Okay. Finances work the same way anyway. So does energy depletion. Okay. But I do think that what we should do down the road here at some point is do a show on financial tips. Okay. On ways to make your budget work. I'm not talking about teaching you how to lay out a budget. Okay. But if you watch what's going on, here's how you change your neighbor's life. Let's say you see something on 2-for-1. Okay. Now that's great. But let's face it. If you're talking about a 20-pound bag of potatoes, 2-for-1, if you're paying $10 for it, is, it's 2-for-1, you're getting 20 pounds for $10. But most of that'll go to waste. Talk to your neighbor. Talk to your friends. Go together. Okay, pick up the 2 bags for the price of one. One neighbor, and so you're only each paying $5. And now you've got those potatoes to go home. 2-for-1 only works if you can actually utilize it. Now, of course, the reality is, whenever coffee comes on, as you can well imagine, if it comes on 2-for-1 for me, I absolutely will buy 2. Okay, but I keep a handle on it. I go through my coffee. When we are talking about changing this world, find ways to help yourself feel better. The reason I said to take a look at the man in the mirror and go, what am I not content with? Now, I mentioned I'm not content with my cash flow. So what am I doing? I'm going through and going, okay, how do I capitalize on this? How do I make this work more effectively? Oh, and I bypass that a bit. Tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, aka 7 p.m. Pacific, Nathan is on with the Quantum Show. Okay. And I certainly recommend you get there. Now, of course, I recommend you drop in. He's got great topics. He usually has a wonderful panel. Okay. I don't know what shape I'm going to be in by that time. Because, silly me. It just works out that way. Got to bed at 10. Got to bed at 11. Back up at 2. I was up until 6. Slept until 7. I'm working on 3 hours again. This is why by 10 o'clock at night I'm usually tanking. But in order to start changing this world, LA goes, we did a lot of that during COVID. Now, the funny thing is, and I don't get this. I don't get this any more than I got World War I. Christmas Day, World War I. Axis and allies together quit shooting at each other. crossed no man's land with no warning, no orders. Nobody said cease fire. Just this massive wave of people stopped shooting at each other, cut across no man's land, and sang Christmas carols, drank, celebrated Christmas, exchanged gifts. What didn't make any sense is why on Boxing Day they went back across the field and opened fire. The same questionable behavior comes with lockdown. So many people pitch together. Give you guys a pat on the back for that. So many people pitch together. Okay. And they pitch together to help each other. Lockdown stops, and all of a sudden the shutters come down, people stop talking, start separating again, and start going back to the same behavior before lockdown. To me, this does not make sense. Okay, but we go back to what lockdown taught us. Working together, we can make this a better world for virtually everybody. Okay, understand, millionaires, the only thing they really have going for them is they can buy more stuff. Okay, in my opinion, that's what they can do with it. Well, that just about came out bad. I just about said something else they can do with it, but figure that's a bad idea. Yeah, Nathan, on Nathan's show tonight, they're going in and they're going to be discussing ghost investigation. Okay, that's a topic, not that he's going out on one. Okay, and again, especially being that he's gone on them, it's a neat topic to listen to. Okay, and to participate in. Okay, there's a lot going on. I find some of it confusing. Like, if you're going to research something, why go to a place that you know has been proven is haunted? Okay, but when we look at it, when we start reaching out to each other, okay, and we start, even if it's a stranger, okay, you're going through the grocery store and you run into a stranger and they're buying potatoes, just as an example. Okay, if you look at it, it's 2 for 1. If you know you're not going through 10 pounds of potatoes, there is no functional reason to do that. Now, I lucked out today, and I just have to figure out how to do something with it. Somebody dropped off about probably 10 pounds of of apples in the lobby. Well, needless to say, I picked them up and brought them in the house. When we are looking at the community around you, the more help you give the people around you, the better off your community is going to be. Another obvious thing, okay, and this applies to apartment living really well. People keep leaving junk on the front lobby. Now, yes, it is the landlord's job to keep the lobby clean. But how hard is it for me to pick up the loose papers and take them in, put them into the recycling, especially when I've got a recycling bin at home? The neat part about it is it literally boils down to communication. Now, let me ask you this. In your guys' opinion, and yes, I've got a note here, I've got my pad here, and I will take notes. In your guys' opinion, what are you not content with the way society is running right now? Okay, whether it's, and I'm not suggesting going, oh, I think the Republicans did this. I think the Socialist Party did this wrong. Oh, this guy that runs this business is an absolute creep. I don't like him. Not interested in specific names. I'm interested in the things that are being set in motion, policies and behaviors that people are following. Like, for instance, we take a look at people, whoever they are, claiming to take care of the poor. And yet, 90%, the massive majority of whatever money they've got coming in doesn't do a thing for the poor. They'll walk right by the poor people and say, oh, I'm into helping the poor. And yet, they'll walk right by them. Now, I got a whole list of things in my head, but I am curious what you guys see as being setbacks, things that are not working well in society that you feel require change. Just a curiosity thing. Actually, in all fairness, it's not just curiosity, but here's the thing. This is why I say working together and the communication is absolutely necessary. LA goes, I don't have to go out for ghosts. I sit in my living room. That's like me. I mean, I got a thoroughfare here. In case you hadn't noticed, there's people always coming and going from this place. Of course, I may have put my own foot in my mouth. Me putting my foot in my mouth. I can't picture that. I did tell them, don't damage my stuff. Leave my stuff where it is. You're more than welcome to come through, hang around, do whatever. Okay. Again, it boils down to communication. And ghosts are just another entity. They're just another thing. Okay. Like you, they desire to be treated with respect. Now, I know from what I've seen with society, I can tell you, the government, and we got to remember, every member of the government, every member of a religion, every member of a group of people, every one of them, okay, are individuals first and a group or an affiliation second. Now, let me ask you this, and we'll narrow it down, okay? Because I've already got a list of things I'm not content with. But let me ask you this. Looking at the society, looking at food banks, okay, let me ask you, if there were one thing, if you have to utilize food banks, what is one thing that you feel would be beneficial that they could change to make things more efficient, to make things easier, and what some people would call less demeaning? So many people I know, okay, they see it as being, they failed miserably. This is why they got to go to the food bank. I'll tell you, in all likelihood, you probably did. You probably made some mistakes. Okay, but we have to start looking at what they did right. Okay, now, I do know with food banks, and they are one of the few charities I will donate to, but I donate actual food. Okay, and I'm below the poverty line. That makes total sense, LA. LA goes, I'm not crying crazy about our government, but I'm not in a position to change it or run. I try to elect people that will. Now, just a thought regarding elections. Okay, 1,000 years ago, and yeah, things have changed. We got better toys. People, I hate to tell you this, haven't changed. Okay. So you take a look at the people that are there. Yeah. LA goes, I won't say all, but I know for a fact working people are using food pantries. Absolutely. And, myself included. Okay, I just got to figure out how to turn around and, what the best way is. I've got a dehydrator, and I'm thinking what I'm going to end up doing is taking the apples and slicing them and dehydrating them. Because the reality is, I don't have the time, patience, and or equipment anymore to actually can. Okay, but I'll be danged if I'm going to throw the apples out. They are good for you. This much I know. What I don't know entirely is I've got to look up what the best way of doing it is. I know there's a recipe for freezer applesauce and that sort of thing. I know that exists. Again, that's great, but if we have a power failure, that's all garbage. But when we take a look at the food banks, they do help people. And yes, some people absolutely that don't require, that really have the money to buy. Some people still go to the food banks. Absolutely, Ellie. And this is one of the biggest things I notice. Okay. Is that we've got, now, there's two major factors here. One, if you run a company yourself, okay, and I'll tell you, I've got these wonderful dreams on what I would love to pay the people that are assisting me right now. Sad part is, I don't bring $2,500 in a month. I'm living on the street. So that kind of takes dominant precedence. Okay, but if you run a company, if you own a company yourself, find out what the local cost of living is. Okay, you desire your company to grow. You desire your company to prosper. Find out what the going price of living in your area is. Take a look at that. Divide it. Literally, you actually divide it by 160. Okay. Well, let's do that the other way. We'll do that on a day when we actually go through the finances. If you're running a company, make certain that first and foremost, you're paying your staff, excluding tips. You're paying your staff a wage whereby they can afford to live in their home, okay, working full time. Now, full time depends on who you talk to. Some people say full time is 32 hours a week. Some people say 40. I'm telling you, there are variations there. But make sure you're paying your staff enough that just working for you, you can turn around or they can turn around and live. Okay, now understand there is a secondary part to that. If your staff is not doing the job you hired them for, do not continue making excuses for them because you cannot protect people from themselves. Okay, I actually got my first job outside the house because one of their employees decided leaving the property for hours at a time while he was on shift was viable and he could get paid for it. And he was until his boss spotted him hitchhiking back to work during shift. Okay, and just pulled over and fired him. In today's world, there seems to be a reluctance. Oh, I don't want to be too harsh. I don't want to hurt their feelings. They're not doing their job. You desire this world to turn around. Here's the thing. Take a look at your business. Make sure that you've got assets that are actually assets instead of something sets. Okay, you don't want the first part of that without the sets. The other thing that I would strongly recommend, we've got all these major manufacturing moguls, okay, shipping stuff overseas. You desire this world to change. Talk to your local government. Talk to the local business owners. Get the manufacturing moved home. Okay. The reason for that, it means the money spent on those products is staying in the country. Now, there are some pretty stupid things being done. Okay. Like in Canada here, from what I gather, and I haven't followed this stuff I'm starting to. Because in Canada, we've got all this softwood that we harvest. No problem. But why in blue blazes do we ship it out of the country to have it processed and turned into new products? Why are we not doing the manufacturing and the processing here? Okay, yes, it will take time to turn this around, but you desire your guys' economy to turn around, and I mean local. Number one, start focusing on the local community. Get the manufacturing, get the products. Speaking of which, I gotta contact somebody. Where is my list? I got a client I haven't heard from in a while, so I'm going to touch base with him. And again, this funny thing, real beneficial memory booster. One of the things we got to remember is if you desire society to change, and it's funny, just a point blank reality. I'm scrolling back here. I asked a question at the beginning of the show, at the beginning of the stream, and I says, are you content with the way your world, your community is working right now? Okay, we had one response. And this is the thing I'm talking about with communication. Now, I will continue doing what I can. But, when I take a look at it, I look at it going, okay, here we have as safe a place as I can make this. And still people don't talk. Yet, I hear people, you take a look at a football game. Now, I got nothing against sports. Okay. Yeah. Ellie goes, big thing about the list. Make it large enough not to lose it. I keep mine on a clipboard. Okay. But I do my best to keep this place as a safe place for everybody. But on the whole, we are taught, don't say anything because you might hurt somebody's feelings. You might. Okay. And Lord knows I have hurt people's feelings. Joe goes, what bugs me is that those people that go to church are strange people. And I do believe in God my best. Well, here's a funny thing. No matter where you go, Joe, whether you go to see people in church, people at the grocery store, people at the auto shop, they're all strange in their own way. Okay. And I agree with you. I won't walk into a church because there's way too many opportunities for me to put my foot in my mouth. There's a group of people that I could walk down to the end of the street and talk to. I don't see the point yet. My legs aren't working right, and I'm just not that interested in getting into a battle of wits. That could be finished in a very bad way. But until people vocalize and start telling the people that have the control what is needed, understand the people that are put in positions of leadership either by election or by hard work, i.e., owners of companies did not get there by sitting on their thumbs. Okay, they put a lot of work into it. And therefore, it is in their best interest to know what the customer is looking for. This is why I strongly recommend changing the world gets done from your hand in your house, in your building, and then go to the people that are working local. Okay, yes, you may be able to get something cheaper, and that is a critical priority. But when you start thinking about things properly or effectively, if you're getting it cheaper and the money is going to another country, okay, are you really doing are you actually doing your community any favor? When you're buying locally, like given the choice, my personal outlook on it is this. If the company, if XYZ company from out of the country, from out of your area even, is selling something and it's roughly the same price to buy local, because the money stays local. And here's how that works. All of a sudden, you've got another family that is now making ends meet, that is now feeling appreciated by the neighborhood. Okay. And it's the same way. Like, I dress the way I do, not because I figure I'm a fashion aficionado. I don't dress this way so that people look at me and go, oh, look, Keith is such a fashion statement. I told a guy one day, come to think of it, I was in a grocery lineup, and the guy was giving me a bad time because of what I was wearing. I looked at him and I said, look, it ain't like I'm a fashion statement. The girl behind me pipes up and goes, you are so, not a good one, but you are a statement. And the thing is, we desire to turn this world around. We have to start focusing on, number one, the positive things happening. And by the way, Woo, thank you so much for taking that hint. Okay. And not carrying on down the negative patch. Absolutely appreciate it. There's a lot of negative things going on. Okay. I just find if we focus on the negatives, that's what we're drawing to us. Remember that thing. Energy out, energy in. You focus on negative. You put it out there. It's going to come back to you. Same thing applies when you focus on and put the positive things out there. The same thing applies. What have we got here? Yeah, we are still, we're fluctuating right now at the 640. Okay. And I'm really watching for that to push up and break 650 subscribers. It's not a lot, but I will tell you, I looked at it the other day, and much as we've only got 7 to 12 people in here on a regular basis, we're hitting above 50 that watch it and then watch the stream afterward. Okay, so this is great. This means we're not dealing with a 6-to-1 ratio anymore. We're dealing with 7-to-1. Okay, and if you do that, we go 643, can't see my screen, times 6 is 3858, but 643 times 7, we are now over at a coverage of over 4,500. This is what I look at, is we have to look at the positive side of things. Okay, and literally, I shouldn't say just look at. We've got to start vocalizing them. This is why, when you see something positive, absolutely bring it about. Okay, let me just pop something up here. There we are. And yes, as I said, I was going to there was a joke put out by Josie a couple of days ago. It is already in Positive Perspectives with Josie's name as a byline. Understand, I cannot turn this world around on my own, but with your guys' help, we can. Okay, start talking to the companies that are sending the manufacturing out of your area. Talk to them about bringing it into your area, especially if you happen to be living in a community area where your community is suffering. Okay, bringing business in. Manufacturing is a great one. Also, let the locals know. You deal with the locals, Because, and when I mean locals, I mean you walk out your front door, say hi to your neighbor. It's a simple thing. Okay. Now, granted, they may not say anything back. I had a neighbor a number of years back. Okay. Every time I saw her, she was always walking along, head bowed to the floor. Okay. Always clearly depressed. Okay. Every time I saw her, whether I was coming from the apartment or going to it, every time I saw her, I'd look at her and I'd say good afternoon or whatever was appropriate. It took 8 years for her to dig up enough self-esteem to respond. Okay, 8 years. These changes do not take place overnight, but they do take place when you focus on them. When you focus and act upon them. This is just the reality of it. And one of the things that we got to realize is it is all aspects at the same time. Whether we are talking about the religious type of people, we are talking about your government and the laws that are being passed. If they are not applying to everybody, there is going to be a problem. Okay, but we start, like I said, you've got your office sorted out. Now take the room. Like I've got my desk cleared, and that's where you start. Now I take the room. And this bookshelf beside me here has 6 shelves on it. 4 of them have already been cleared. They are set up exactly the way they belong. Okay, the last 2 are inventory, which I will be covering tonight. Wrong one. I do like my eyes on occasion. So, when we're talking about shifting this world, okay, we are talking about what can you do? Well, what you do is, who do you do? Don't go there. What you can do is get the clutter out of your primary workspace. You start in the office. Now, I'm lucky, okay, in one sense. I clear out my workspace in the office. It means I'm clearing out my bedroom. Okay, and I will tell you from practical experience, if you've got a bunch of boxes in your bedroom, you are not going to be resting as well as if you get the clutter out of the area. Okay, which means this is why when I started, I've got a list of things I did. And right here, move boxes off this floor. Quite honestly, when you're getting this setup done, now of course, understand the office where you do your planning, where you handle your books, that is the brain of your house. Okay, now where is it? That is the brain of your house. Now the neat part is that when we come down here, the bedroom itself, okay, is actually, where are we? The bedroom is where digestion takes place. That's where you rest. Okay, so by doing this room here, I am clearing out both incoming information and coping with the negativity that comes in at the same time, as well as taking a look at the positive side of things and turn around and you're energizing your whole living area. I do it in one room. Now, my son, I already know, will move out sooner or later on his own. Okay, at that point, my office will move into the other room. Until then, it's not going to happen. But what we've got to realize is if we continue to keep quiet about the things that are necessary to be changed, we are going to have a lot of problems. Yeah, LA is one of the people that I've talked to that we looked at the whole idea of clutter removal. So many people, I tell them, get the clutter out of the way. They go, it's fine the way it is. And then a week later, they're going, I still can't think clearly. I'm still confused. I'm still stressed. I'm telling you, get the clutter out of the area. If you don't require it, get rid of it, whether it's recycling, actual garbage, find somebody that can put it to use. Okay. Anything like that at all. But if it doesn't have a functional use, and here's a guideline for you. Okay. Basic rule, and again, this is a tool I personally put to use. If you've got a box of stuff and you haven't been into it for a year, excluding family keepsakes, okay, or decorations for various holidays, if you haven't touched it for a year, odds are you don't require it. Okay, the odds are, if that's the case, you didn't require the thing. I've given a staggering amount of my tools away because I don't, yes, I know what a socket wrench is, and that's about where it ends. Oh, fantastic, LA. LA is just saying, going, I finally convinced my son to clear his room up. He's been working on, he told me this week, his mind is clearer. You will find the same thing. And yes, I've repeated this multiple times. Oddly enough, I actually had to tell a group of Strazazians, I actually had to tell them, clear up their work area. You'll think better. And they argued the same way you guys do. Oh, it's no problem. We can find everything. Get it organized. They finally did, and dang near doubled their productivity level. Boy, was their commanding officer ever happy. This is the one thing that I can honestly say about most militaries. Most militaries have a routine of doing things. Okay? And I'm not talking about the abusive way of doing things. I'm referring to do A, then B, then C. Okay? If you choose to do that, you will find your life turns around for the better. Okay? I've talked about it a lot. And yes, admittedly, totally ignored it. Okay? But finally got around to it, and my own Facebook page, Inner Voice Enterprises, went active today for the first time in Lord knows how long. So I will be posting in it on a regular basis. Okay, regular being possibly daily, certainly every two, but it will become much more active than it has been. And again, it boils down to taking an idea and going, this is what I'm aiming for. Now, I am not, I'm getting better at marketing, and I will tell you this. Word of mouth is still the best method. Okay, we desire this world to change. And honestly, I've been watching the chat room, and there hasn't been any input there, and that's fine. I know with the number of people I talk to, so many people are disillusioned with society. All you got to do is start talking about options of what could make it better. Okay, I will tell you, crime rate will drop. Okay, if you get to know your neighbors and start getting along with them. Do not worry about what color they are or who they're sleeping with. If you're married and they're not sleeping with your wife or your husband, then who they crawl into bed with doesn't really matter. Okay, this is why I said absolutely energy out, energy in. you start dealing with the local people. Start buying local when you can. And yes, I understand the problem with finances. Way more than I care to count. And again, guys, and I've asked this most every day. If you've got an idea for a topic you would like to cover, absolutely pipe up. Okay. I know that some of the best responses that I get, that we get in here, are when we start doing something with the UFOs, with the aliens, with the off-worlders, ancient races, this sort of thing. Well, here's the kicker. They are, and don't get me wrong, I'm still continuing with them. But there are so many ways of distracting yourself from life, whether it's looking to the stars, playing video games, maybe it's going to church 6 days a week. Now, I don't know if you're, and I know people that do this. They go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times a week. How many times can you, well, you won't get into a lot of trouble, apparently, if all your time is spent cloistered away from the world. It's like I don't tick off nearly as many people. That's actually not a bad idea. I think we should really turn around. And LA's gone, I'd like to see psychic protection techniques. And I do think that that is actually a really good idea. Now we're going to have to, honestly, and this is going to seem a little backwards, okay? But I know what I do, but I also know that my methods are a little hard to track on occasion, okay, for a number of reasons. But we will take a look at that. And quite frankly, I think the best bet is to bring somebody on that actually knows what they're doing with it, that I know knows what they're doing with it. Because I tell you, I've listened to people go, oh, I'm a professional psychic, I know all this, that, and the other thing. And their own life is an absolute shambles because even they don't follow it. Now, I know when I say this is what I'm doing, yeah, where it comes to finances, I made some pretty serious mistakes. I also know why. But we start correcting what we can here. Nobody can protect anybody from themselves. Okay, in most cases. Now, I will tell you, if somebody is beating themselves black and blue, tying them down can stop them from doing that. You're better off talking to them and finding out what the problem is. Or more to the point, they're better off. I took a young lass that was clinically multiple personality. And I talked to her. I spent about a year talking to her. Got her re-amalgamated with herself. She still had 3 personalities. But under one roof, they were working with each other. Absolutely, LA. LA goes, mistakes are errors uncorrected. Okay. Most mistakes are literally because of true ignorance. For whatever reason, you didn't know better. Okay. Stupidity is when you know better and you do it anyway. Okay. Now I know, and this was stupid on my part, where it came to going out for dinner. I was going out 3, 4, 5 days a week to get a meal at a restaurant, meaning $300 to $400 a month. Stupid. I don't do that anymore. But I do it a whole lot less. Okay. But if we are going to turn this world around, first things first, find what you're not content with. Okay. Yes, and we start overall getting the clutter out of your house. You get the clutter out of your house, get the clutter off your property. If you don't have a definitive use for it, if you don't have a definitive place for it, okay, then what you've got is a budding problem. And this is just one of those things we have to look at. Now, absolutely, I've been organizing things forever and a day. What I found the other day, it was kind of comical. Okay, I figured out months ago. It turns out, like, I play Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, an old girlfriend of mine, actually she was pretty young at the time, girlfriend of mine, a former girlfriend of mine, that's a better way of putting it, looks at me and goes, you know, Keith, you don't game to escape reality. You game to orchestrate it. Okay. And I was looking at my game master the other day, and I says, hey, why is it every single character I build is now building an empire, buying lots of properties, helping lots of people? Why are they all doing the same thing? Understanding with gaming, you put part of you into that very character. And my game master looks at me and goes, drive. This is why when I said we are going to build an empire here, okay, but we're going to build one focused on helping people, not on belittling them. And this is why we don't tolerate bullies in here. But absolutely imperative. Start, number one, talking to the people around you, complimenting the people at their jobs. Okay? Because let's face it, if it weren't for the cleaners that are tidying up the lobby in the fast food restaurants, picture the disaster. Okay? My landlord does all the hallways. Okay? I end up picking up a lot of the newspapers that get left on the desk. And they're on the bench in the front room. It's not my job. I don't get paid for it directly. But my landlord now, if somebody leaves food out there, he'll bring it by my apartment door and set it down. Okay, essentially giving me first dibs on the foods. And you can bet your bottom dollar I put it to use. Because I don't know if you guys noticed, but the cost of food is absolutely insane. Doesn't have to be, but greed has done that to it. So, very important, we decided we're going to turn this world around. Start with your own house. Get it reorganized. If you've got a problem, absolutely talk to me. You will find, and I just started the article today, the article in December here. Okay, where I laid out, well, I literally called it the anatomy of a home. Okay, we are going to be continuing with that as a regular edition. Okay, because this is stuff that is not taught. Okay, and many of you may not know, or either don't know about it, or have not looked at it in that fashion, or perhaps you just haven't pieced it together. Okay, maybe you're just professional procrastinator. I will tell you, procrastination has never accomplished much in a hurry, except delays. Okay, so yes, that one article that's coming out in December, November, where are we? We are on the 26th. Next couple of days, November's edition will come out. It's already locked and done. I'm currently working on December's. But I have decided that if we are going to change this world, I got to step out of the shadows. I've got to bring this message to the masses. Now, this is going to upset some people. I know this. Thanks, Ellie. We are down to the 30-minute mark. So I am working on these things. I've got a number of projects I am now starting to clear off. And to give you an idea, okay, these little guys I've started actually clearing off and started getting them painted. as in tied off. Got a whole bunch that are partially painted. This one I've got a little bit I gotta do just to touch up with the red. And he gets put away and put aside. He's done. Same as with the books I'm reading. Okay, I'm reading bits and pieces at a time. Writing my last 2 years has been a nightmare. I keep going, oh, I'll get it out at this point. And one thing leads to another, and this was because I did not remain focused on what was working. Okay, I had a visit the other day from my dad, my mom, my 2 eldest brothers, and my grandmother. Now understand, each and every one of these people are already deceased. Okay, and yet they came back to essentially give me a kick in the butt and say, hey, you know what you came to do. You've got the ability to do it. It's time to make it happen. Okay, the whole idea of putting things off and hoping somebody else will straighten it out doesn't work. I mean, realistically, government talks about all these new initiatives. Take a look at your society, wherever you are. Is your society in better shape now than it was last year? Okay, that's the thing you got to look at. All of these talk about Robin Williams, okay, passed away a long time ago, made a comment one day. There are thousands of plans for peace and no action. There are thousands of plans just like that. There are thousands of plans for self-improvement. Okay, many of you have come up with all kinds of ideas. Oh, if I do this, I'll feel better, I'll have more energy. You never get your butt off the couch. Or you do for a short period, and then something hiccups it, and you drop the ball. I'm not pointing fingers, I've done the same thing. 2 years, I've been banging my head against the wall, telling myself I've got to do things differently. Okay, how many times have you seen me leave my beard alone? Now, I've got no real functional use for the beard. Okay, the sideburns I'm keeping. How many times have you seen me let it grow because I was just plain too lazy to get off my butt and go and do something about it? Changing this society, changing this world is not going to happen with people doing this. It's just not going to happen if you sit and twiddle your thumbs. You can write all the affirmations, all the prayers in the world. You can put them on paper. You can sing them to the stars. You don't get off the couch. Nothing changes. Okay, it is time that in spite of the government saying, we're going to do this, and we've seen how well that works, or the church saying, oh, Christ is coming back, or whatever call, in spite of them saying that, is your society changing? I'll tell you, all the prayers in the world from my end, we discussed this the other day. Okay, all the best intentions. If I desire my pen to get to the other side of the room, we already know, and I don't feel like picking it up off the floor, so I'm not. But just in case I wasn't going to, and then it dawned on me, just in case you haven't seen this before, watch. Okay, I've got all these prayers, all these affirmations, all these written plans to get this pen onto the counter behind me. Okay, but I am just too stubborn. It won't happen to me. It'll work for me. I know it's never worked for anybody else, or very seldom, but it's going to work for me. So I'm going to leave my butt glued to the chair. I'm not getting up. I'll deal with it later. Okay, procrastination works like an absolute break. Nothing happens. Now, all the prayers, you with me? Let's pray this ends up on the shelf. Well, it hit the shelf. It's better than some days. But you'll notice it didn't actually land on the shelf. The reason for that is because I didn't get up, walk over here, and put it there. Amazingly enough, we desire this world to change, we're going to have to do it ourselves. Okay, now, what is a leader? What is the one absolute, incontrovertible quality of a leader? Any idea? Because I will give it to you here very quickly. Just curious if anybody knows what. There is no way of arguing, no functional way of arguing it. Okay, what is the one quality that literally every leader in existence ever, they've all had this one quality? Any idea, guys? You know, this is the funny part. I like when I'm over on Dave's show on Spaced Out, I feed right off of the people in the room. But here's the one quality, and let's see anybody argue the point. The one incontrovertible rule of leadership. Every single leader in history has had this same quality. Okay, that one quality is this. Nope. In all fairness, it's a good guess and it's a good quality to have. LA's going charisma. Here's the one quality that every single one of the leaders across history, across every society ever run, including amongst the animal kingdom. Anything mobile, they've always had, the leaders are always the same. They are always the one in front. They're always the one that makes the decision. Okay, they may not be physically in front, but they are the one that gets people moving. Every leader in history has that same quality. Some of them have the charisma of a, they got the charisma of fingernails on a blackboard. Some of them have the brains of a crushed thimble. Okay, some of them are as absolutely weak as a wet noodle. Okay, some are as bright as a burnt out light bulb, but you get the idea. The one thing they all have is they are all in front. They are all the ones that start things moving. Sometimes physically, sometimes mentally. But they are the one that starts it. Okay. Now, why become a leader? In my case, I'm not the leader. When we're running towards the cliff, I'll let somebody else run off it first. Basic rule of thumb. If they survive the fall, maybe. The thing that kept me alive in Atlantis was 6 people, and 6 of my really good friends hit the wall before I did. That's the only reason I survived, is I wasn't leading the impact. But what would you do if I turned around and told you, that you yourself in your own community you can claim the mantle of leadership by simply taking control of your own life. Okay. And this isn't what we're working on at this point. Okay. This is why I'm starting to take these issues and put them out there. It's why I finally got my tail feathers off the chair and went, well, in all fairness, I keep my tail feathers on the chair when I'm posting. Can you picture me trying to stand over a desk, over my computer, okay, and try standing to type? This isn't going to go well. Okay, every leader in history has been at the front of things. Okay, Spartacus may not have been right at the front, but I suspect he was. I do know if we go back 1,000 years, the leaders that said, we're going to war, were in the front of the line. Okay. Now, in today's world, I'm a leader because I said something, but I don't live by it. But I'm telling you, you should do it. Not a prayer is that going to work. Okay? I'm not that way inclined. Now, I am not the best of the best. I am certainly not the greatest mind on the planet. Possibly one of the most twisted in a positive way. But I find it very difficult to sit here and go, we can think about it, we can talk about it. People aren't actually paying it. The thing is, it's not people aren't paying attention. Because clearly, every time I suggest shutting this down, I get a lot of emails or text messages that say, don't shut it down. What you're doing is helping. Well, rest assured, I'm not shutting it down. Won't guarantee I won't die. And if I do, sorry guys, we're shutting it down. Unless you can figure out how to make me carry on working when I'm dead. That could be fun. Halloween, we have, here's a guest speaker. R. Keith Andrews is here with us today. He died 15 years ago, but his body's still with us. Say something, Keith. I'll sit there going, and that's where it ends. You get to figure out what I was trying to say. The fact of the matter is, if we desire to change this society, if you're not content with society, it is time to vocalize it. This can be done verbally or by your actions. Remember, if you've got the opportunity to deal with a small business as compared to a major corporation, again, make sure you deal with somebody you trust. Okay, put the little people to work. Yeah. LA goes, copious cologne will be necessary. Well, no, because we don't have smell-o-vision yet. Okay, so we should be okay. But it is time to really reach out to the community around you. Now, this is coming from a recluse. Okay, I don't leave my house much, but when I do, most of the people in the restaurant that I go to, I call by name. Grocery store, same thing. Strangers, I will talk to. Just wish them a good day. It doesn't take a lot of work, but the energy output and the shift it can have on society is insurmountable. But we gotta quit waiting for somebody else to come down and straighten it out. Again, when we look at it, God gave you, if you believe in God and you believe that God created you in his image, God gave you free will and free choice. What he didn't give you was freedom from consequence. Okay, same as if you believe in that. Okay, and understand, I can talk about this from my own belief because I do see myself as a Christian. I do believe in God. I do believe in Christ. But I believe that when Christ came here to forgive everybody's sins, he was referring to the sins they had already committed, not the ones that they committed later. Okay, this was not a clean slate. Yeah, LA goes, minty freshness is not an option in a large crowd. No, it really isn't. I remember walking by somebody, I have no idea what they were wearing in the way of cologne. Right, or I think it's called perfume, since it was a woman. And of course, I was very subtle about it. I looked at her and went, gee, nice perfume. And she goes, oh, you like it? Why, thank you so much. You like it? I says, yeah, it's not bad. I just can't figure out why you bathed in it. Apparently, this is not the socially acceptable way of doing things. But when we take a look at the world, okay, it is up to us. It is up to you, the individual, to change your life. Now, like I said, in Positive Perspectives, this article I wrote that I've got in December is the anatomy of a home. We are going to be going through it for quite a while as a regular assessment, as a regular edition, amongst other things. Now, for those of you that get positive perspectives, or for those of you that don't, if you don't get it and you'd like it, go to the stream and into the link at the top of the chat room at Inner Voice Enterprise, or no, at Inner Voice, at buymeacoffee.com/Inner Voice J. Okay, get in touch with me through there. All the books I've written are there, as well as my consulting fee and a way to just support what we're doing. Like I said, for me, it's pretty cut and dried. Okay, I've got to live comfortably from all sources. I've got to bring $2,500 a month in. Okay, to live comfortably. Once I break that, then roughly, and right now, should be 80% and possibly more than that, will go back to the population. Okay, to the people that are buying stuff, the people that are referring clients, the people that are participating in life. Okay, these are things that are already set in motion. And we are now down to 15. Thanks so much, LA. But if you've got an idea for an ongoing topic in positive perspectives, absolutely drop me a line. Let me know what it is. Post it in the chat room. Any way you want to do it. Okay. Because understand, this is growing. And it's not going to end. I'm not putting it down anytime soon. Hate that. Yeah. Joe just going, I'm very content as of right now. With my Dream Journal 4, I looked at it earlier, cleaning the bedroom. I've come a long way. Absolutely you have. Okay. And I will tell you, the more organized you get, and the more clutter that gets out of the way, the easier communication will be between you and the people around you. This is just a natural side effect. Don't take my word for it. Sort out the clutter. Get rid of the stuff that's blocking you. Okay, you get out of the stuff that's blocking you. And what ends up happening is all you're left with is a life you're content with. This is just reality. Now, to be honest, when I take a look at it, when I take a look at the situation we're in, my own kids, I have trouble mobilizing. So, if you think you're having trouble with your kids, the reality is you probably are. The neat part about the way this world is we all have a phenomenal capacity to take the world the way it is right now, which I'm pretty certain most of you will not see as the Garden of Eden. We can turn it back into the Garden of Eden, as it were, into paradise, or we can let it continue to degrade until it's an absolute complete shambles. I'm just no longer willing to sit back and let mine fall down the same road it's been going, because I've been following a real stupid path. Stupid because I know better. Okay, and we take this. And where are we here? Neat part about it is it's up to you. Okay, if you're not content with your life, it is time to start organizing it. Okay, I got a whole pile of things that I'm working on, but that's where this list comes in. Because the top half of the list, you'll just have to go with where my finger is. These are all checked off to there. Okay, so I've gone through about half the list. I've added the bottom quarter since we came online. But we have a choice. Each and every one of you has a choice. You can leave the status quo, keep blaming other people, keep hoping for either the aliens to come down and straighten your life out, or God to come down and straighten your life out, or you can take a hint. Get off your tail feathers. That applies to me as well. Okay. You know the old saying, good things come to those that wait? Certainly, it does. Unfortunately, they also go moldy before you get them if you don't get off your backside. I know when I order pizza, I was ordering pizza from the stores, from the big chains or the little ones. But I was spending $20 on a pizza that I can buy in the grocery store for half that cost. And all I got to do is turn on an oven. Like I said, I'm not good on the cooking thing, but I can turn on an oven, set a timer, and let it go. If we are going to turn this world around, we're not going to do it by waiting for the elites, the business moguls, the church, temple, coven, the government, waiting for them. I don't know, guys. Civilization, as near as I can figure, the current rendition of it is about 4,000 years old. Okay? The governments, the moguls, the wealthy, they haven't turned it around. Do you really think leaving it for another week or two is going to help? Just think about that. How often did you sit there, if you've got kids, how often did you sit there going, I'm going to let my kid deal with his own room. That's a good thing. And it is a good thing. But you'll notice they don't move without guidance. Neither do the rest of the world, including the big people. Quite often the people that have a lot of money have forgotten what it was like not to have it. Okay. In my case, the mistake I made was literally, I looked at it and went, I don't have a use for it. We will cover more of that later. I've just been told we just hit the 5-minute mark. With that in mind, I want to say thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to talking to you again. Tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, Nathan's show. Go see Nathan on the Quantum Show. In the meantime, we will be back again tomorrow, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. PST. Don't know entirely what we're working on yet. Oh, wait a minute. I think I do. Tomorrow is... Nope, didn't write anything down. So, that being said, we'll have to get back to you on that. But I will be here from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. PST. Until we talk again, take care of yourselves and each other. And